I really do believe that we've got a foundation that's missing in its education, and it's not just in the classrooms themselves. It's an education to the general public. I mean, out there, how many times have people heard someone say a question from the public? You guys really should think about planting trees after you harvest, and you know it's a great idea, but as we all know, there are obligations that we all meet, and as our minister had said, how many millions of trees do we plant every single year? So some of the basic questions, and it's not that anybody out there lacks knowledge necessarily in it. It's just that there's a gap between foresters like myself and the general public in the information being passed back and forth there too. So I will say I was a teacher for 15 years. So I started off my career in the high school and absolutely loved science and outdoor education, and I guess from that teaching portfolio I appreciated forestry. So I back in 2009 went back to UBC and got a forestry degree and a master's in forestry, and ended up here in the beautiful area of Boundary. So that's kind of where my path went. So you can see that I have a passion for forestry and a passion for teaching, and I do enjoy kind of linking them both together. It's difficult when we see a lack of forestry curriculum in the schools, especially the high school, where they're starting to make some key decisions in regards to their careers and where they want to go. And public outreach, although we all try, the forest industry in general, there's kind of a nose to the ground and get our jobs done, and the public outreach sometimes isn't always there. And it can be from the amount of time and the money that it takes to do that. But hopefully in our new intentions paper, there's some drive for the non-community forest licensees to also do more outreach and communication. So overall, I'm always thinking, how do we get those young people better involved in forestry? We all know that there's a real gap in our upcoming foresters. There's a lot of experienced old people who are counting down the years or days to retire, and definitely in our area, we're concerned about who's going to fill in those gaps. And I think that educating the kids at a young age and right through to the moment where they're choosing post-secondary courses is a key thing. And also, how do we collaborate with the public if there's a lack of understanding? We keep hearing about that, right? Better collaboration. Well, how do you collaborate when there's really a missing foundation out there? Like if the automotive industry all of a sudden said, you know what, we have to better collaborate with Dan Macmaster. My only response to the decisions that the automotive industry would be is I'd say, well, give me a neat looking car. I don't know anything about cars. I don't know anything about engines, but I'd like to learn more. And if upon learning more, I could contribute to the decisions and the policies and everything that's in between, I think that's an important, again, an important gap for us to kind of bridge overall. So bringing kind of forest education but trying to bridge that gap is what I've been really focusing on the last number of years, and I look forward to sharing my screen. And one thing I learned about a teacher is that being a teacher is that you show them all pretty pictures and flashy items, and everyone's happy. So I'll move my way through. Perfect, 7 minutes. I'm right on time. As a teacher, you always look at that clock, right? Otherwise, you lose the students if the bell rings. So I'm moving along here. Here's a little introductory slide there. Again, just a fun little kind of reminder that I do work in a few different areas of West Boundary Community Forest, Vaughan, and the Osoyoos Indian Band. And today, of course, wearing the West Boundary hat is the key component of what we're doing. So the West Boundary Community Forest has the shareholders of Greenwood and Midway, and we have about a 23,000 meter AAC cut. Would like it to be bigger, but we're working with what we have right now. And of course, as Harley had said, there's a management agreement between Vaughan Fibre Canada, a small sawmill in Midway, family-run sawmill in Midway, and the community forest. So that's where myself and Peter Flett, who's at the top of this picture here, RPF for Vaughan. We work with the community forest and have the wonderful opportunity to be able to manage and meet with everybody. And it's definitely our favorite part of the job. But don't tell the Vaughans that. So, where are we located? I know I'm talking to people from all over the province, and so here's where we are. You can see the coast of Vancouver on the left, and we're getting close to Cranbrook on the right, and there's Greenwood, there's Midway, and that's the boundary area right there. So our community forest is actually about 27 different parcels. You can see here it's spread out throughout. It offers challenges, and it also offers opportunities. You have a lot of neighbors, private, woodlot, other licensees. So I'll put a positive twist on that and say, well, we like to know that we have lots of individuals that we deal with, and we have no choice but to deal with. So that works out well. We're spread out. We're a very thankful community for us from what we have, and look forward to, as the minister said, perhaps growing sometime in the future. So some objectives here, and this is not exhaustive, and it's not different than in many of your community forests, but I wanted to mention in no particular order that my board and shareholders want timber harvesting. We're a working forest, and by working the forest, we generate revenue for our communities. So that's an important point there too. It has to be done right, but it also has to be done as well too. Local employment, 100%. Everything we do is local employment. Incredible what the small little towns of the boundary can provide when we talk about all the different phases of operations and management overall. So local employment comes entirely from the talent that we have here in the boundary. Our First Nation collaboration I've mentioned, included at all phases. The Osoyoos Indian Band has a wonderful skilled labor ideas. They have a referral program that I sit down and meet with them constantly to make sure that we're doing the right thing, not just sending in a referral and counting down the 30 or 60 days, but that we're out on the land together and looking at what they would like to have done and areas they would like to have much more of a decision within. So local public decision making, field trips and meetings, and a website. We do fuel mitigation and forest health, our recreational opportunities, and what we're getting at here today is not the bottom of the list, but it is forestry education of our children and the public. So I'll start off a little bit here just by showing you some things that we do that hopefully you all do out there as well too. Getting into the schools, been a little trickier in the last 12 months or so, but we're definitely able to still get into the schools and do career days. You can see the high school students up on the top left, and forestry show and tell days we do, the elementary school down on the right. I think the enthusiasm of the lower right is different than the upper left. I'm thinking that the high school students it's probably the person beside me talking, probably from the automotive industry or something like that. So we're definitely enjoying going into schools and talking to the kids. We of course have the convenience of having a wonderful mill right there. And so we have a lot of groups that come in, high school and young kids, and they get a chance to learn about sawmilling, the equipment. There's a lot of them that want to one day drive the big equipment. There's a lot of them that want to be involved in the technology, millwrights, all the different positions and whatnot. We bring them in, and the Vaughan employees just drop everything to make sure that the kids get their questions answered and familiarized about a little bit of what happens within our mill itself. You probably do a lot of this too, but this is always a wonderful spring event. We take numerous classes out for tree planting, and Peter Flett and our local contractor Owen Stewart from Green Peaks, he works with the different kids and talks about the importance of tree planting and the different components of it, and gets the kids out there. And we all know that one great thing about tree planting is the kids, in theory, over the years can look at their tree and watch it grow, especially when it's close to the school or close to their communities as well too. So tree planting, definitely a good way to educate, to bring it through that what we're doing is, although we've done a harvest, we're putting the healthy and the proper species back into the soil. A simple concept for a lot of us managers, but one that I know they enjoy. And a few trees to go home and talk to the parents around the dinner table is wonderful. So So communication is key for the West Boundary Community Forest. And so we're always trying to educate our communities and our people. And we do numerous, and this isn't just annually, it's weekly, if not every other day. We've got an individual who would like to go out into the forest, or we've got a group of people or a local society that like to meet out in the forest. Our doors are always open, bearing restrictions, but our doors are always open for people to come in and be able to talk with Peter and I. We do events out in the bottom left there. You can see we do events there to try to bring the public and the press out to see the kind of things that we're doing. We hold town hall meetings whenever there's not concern, but questions about a project we have going on, a wildfire mitigation project, whatever we might be looking at. And then every month we hold in Midway and Greenwood, we hold a public meeting for the public to come out and learn about what we're doing on the landscape, what we're planning on doing, all the details. They see a buncher, of course, moving down a road maybe behind their house, and there's concerns. So that's how we are able to give them some knowledge of what we're doing. And we keep our website right up to date as well, too, to make sure that our maps, our plans, and our locations are all up front, which again, a lot of community forests do that. Interesting that's how that's being in this new policy, this kind of, showing the public where and what we're doing. And that's something we've always done collectively in the past. So, and we have these forestry days. We run a lot of forestry days. Every community fair that we were able to get into, we have our tent that we put up there, different trade shows. We at the Osoyoos Indian Band, we every year do a kind of an open house. It's for us to see if there's some employees that we could find in there at any different phases, and also just let them know what we're doing out on their traditional territory. And we have a lot of connections with them, including employment from Vaughan and employment from local contractors as well too. And down on the far right, those two lovely ladies, of course, always an opportunity to meet them. When we do have our trade shows, that's a great chance for us to communicate with people about community forests in general. And I can talk a little bit about the West Boundary Community Forest. So all of our partners here, again, I keep saying the word education, but when you have partners and you're able to inform them of what you're doing and get the support from them, but also just bridge that gap between the range people, making sure that range and timber can coexist in the same area, making sure that recreational opportunities are there. We work with the school district quite a bit. We work with BCTS. We're often neighbors on that end too. So just making sure that we have connections with all of our associations, our groups, and even the companies in the local area, it has been key too. So phone calls and emails with these groups almost on a weekly basis. So here's how I'll wrap up. This is kind of what it all culminates to. We've got a neat opportunity that started up 2 years ago. We really wanted to start an outdoor education center, and the education center itself was not going to be this grand established with buildings and residents and whatnot. It's going to simply be a place we can start, that we can bring kids and community groups in and just talk to them about forestry. The key thing for our education center was going to be where do we locate this thing? And so I've got a little map here. You can see it's a 60-acre property. It was a private property, and it was near Wilgers Lake. I drove past it for years. It was always for sale. And then just one day I said, all right, that's it. We're getting that thing. And the support from the shareholders of Greenwood and Midway gave us an opportunity to be able to purchase it. It was accessible by a school bus. It was close to our communities, forested land and aquatic ecosystems with the forest and the water meeting each other. And the best thing about it is it's surrounded by crown land. So we have an opportunity to have kind of a backyard that's much bigger than even just our 60 acres overall. So we cleaned up the property. We installed a new dock, picnic shelter going up, developed hiking trails in there, got some interpretive signs going, and kind of tidied this place up and see if we can turn it in from maybe an old abandoned hunting club to something that the kids could use overall. We said, how do we connect with teachers? Well, we hosted some outdoor planning days, some PD days, and we brought those teachers out and had an opportunity to meet them and talk about where we could take their kids and things we could do. We have a coordinator for the Outdoor Education Center, and she books the dates and arranges the day's classes and organizing the kids and arrival times. So in last year's school year, we had 33 different classes come up, 33 overall. So well over 1,000 different kids came up to see it. And even in the fall here, we're probably at about 8 or 10 already. So it's been really popular for all ages and all classes as well. We collaborate with the Osoyoos Indian Band, the Métis individuals, outdoor education centers, local BCTS foresters come out and help us out, as well as our board members themselves. It's a bit of a busy slide, but I'm not going to read it all, just the headlines there. We try to break it up and join into the curriculum there with forestry and aquatic ecology. We look at forest woodland operations. Whenever we have a chance to have a machine nearby, the kids absolutely love learning about them. Our contractors come out, again, drop what they're doing, come on out and talk to the kids. Hopefully we can find a future person in for an operator. Talk about forestry products, such as the sawmill discussion I had, and sustainable opportunities and challenges in there. So there's a number of different areas we look at, as well as one of the more important ones is the traditional values. And so being able to connect with the Osoyoos Indian Band and the Métis people, we're able to bring in some of those traditional values, bring those elders out and talk to the kids about aspects of that. Just some pictures you can see here. That's me in the top right there. I think the camera added a few pounds, but that's me nonetheless. They love it. We've got ourselves microscopes. The kids love the campfires, dip nets. We do all kinds of things for all different kinds of ages all around. And I'll wrap up here, Harley, by saying, one thing I did is I looked at the area of the Crown land around it. And Peter and I were both said, last thing we need is to have a clear cut, because not our operating area. We don't have an operating area. So the Crown land around the outside, we're really worried that all of a sudden it would be all clear cut and we'd be left with this little island of a outdoor ed center. So Peter and I put together a forestry license to cut permit, which really is a neat permit that allows you to go in, and it's kind of a community wildfire protection permit. Allows you to go in and do thinning with the support of BCTS, because it is their area. It protected our investment out there. It actually generated some good dollars for the community forest, and hence the outdoor ed center too as well. And it made sure it was kind of logged, or at least prescribed in the and logged in the same way that we do in the outdoor ed center overall. I used the skid trails afterwards to now make trails, which we now can get the kids and take them right into the middle of these too, of these treatment areas. So they're able to kind of see what we were looking at when we were thinning and why we grouped here, and just try to bring across a little bit of an idea that, when you leave trees standing, it's not just any old tree, but you got to select the right ones. And so they've been really enjoying being able to get in there and see the different treatments that we've done in there. So I guess kind of to wrap up, because I want to stay on my time. I hit 20 minutes there at Harley. So there you go. So I kind of wanted to wrap up and say, although we do a number of different things, it's probably there's a lot of stuff that's reflected in other community forests as well. We're very proud of our educational outreach, and we're very thankful for the support that our board and our shareholders and my bosses at Vaughan give us to be able to roll these things out. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of money. But I truly think that proper education, if not a little bit stronger emphasis on education, is really what's going to bridge some of these very contentious issues that forestry is facing today. And I want to encourage anybody out there to reach out, and I would love to share ideas. And I'd love to share future opportunities for us to be able to talk about education. And there's our website at the bottom there. Feel free to check us out at westboundarycommunityforest.com. Thanks, Harley.
Thanks, Dan. You set the bar very high. It's very encouraging to see all the work you do, and I hope that we can take lessons from you and try and incorporate that in all our community forests. And I know from the standards that you've set that it's top notch and it's very appreciated. And like you say, we need to encourage the majors to do more towards education. But one sentence that caught my attention and that was very good is that we are a working forest and we're here to make money, and then we pass that money on to our communities, and I think that's very important. So I just have a little bit to say about education from our perspective. It certainly doesn't meet your standard, but from our Lower North Thompson Community Forest, of which I'm chair, We started having university students in 2014. And so far to this year, we've had 18 university students tread on the ground of the community forest and learn some of the different aspects of it. We have a silviculture forester that works for us, and Mike doesn't cut any punches. He puts them into different perspectives of silviculture, like brushing or planting, or so they get to get a lot of knowledge, I guess. And this year we have one university student, Sky, staying back, learning timber harvesting and timber production and that sort of thing. And then she's moving on to other vocations and other education in the future. But the total amount of students that we've had so far is about 21 students. And some of those were high school students. I believe 3 of them were high school students, of which we incorporate different jobs within our organization to do for the high school students. The student benefits are very valuable. Their wages and their varied work experience and a safe work environment, which Dave Gill is going to talk about in the next segment. Our funders have been the community forest. Of course, we top up wages and try and make sure that the students have enough money to be able to get back to university and further their education. Canada Summer Jobs has been another one. UBC Community Forestry Intern Program has been very forthwith and forthcoming in their support to our organization. And the PLT Green Jobs also has supported our students in the future. I just want to talk a little bit about scholarships or bursaries for our high school grads. From 2012 to present, we paid out $221,750. 104 students, excluding the 2022. So 104 students have benefited, and we get thank you cards back from that ability to find funding to go and further their education and help them out. And the average amount has been about $2,300. So having said that, I don't know that we've done as good a job as you, but we now have a leader that we can work towards increasing our education and increasing the aspect of education in our communities. And I want to thank you, Dan.